To demonstrate the evaluation process, let's practice using one of the core competencies, accountability. A review of the definition of accountability may be helpful. Focuses on goals and achieves desired results. Overcomes obstacles and ensures objectives are complete. Accepts full responsibility for decisions and actions no matter the outcome. Uses time to efficiently meet goals and personal commitments. Demonstrates a commitment to organizational success. Adjusts timelines, results, and expectations appropriately to changing needs. Actively contributes by identifying opportunities or issues and acts on them. Regardless of the differing degrees of expectations as reflected in the target ranges, all accomplishments can be seen here. It doesn't matter if work is a project goal or everyday task. Whether or not something is completed can be in large part attributed to the degree of ownership that was taken or how accountable the employee held him or herself to achieve the desired results. Now, accountability is not the only competency that is evaluated. Whether or not tasks are completed can be measured by the deliverable. However, measuring performance is not pass-fail. Often, many skills or behaviors must be utilized by an employee to produce the deliverable. These behaviors, i.e. competencies, have been identified for you. How effectively did an employee communicate with a colleague whose assistance was needed at some point to accomplish the project? How well did the employee present the deliverable in front of their leadership? The object of evaluating competencies is to assess the final product and also the behaviors the employee engaged in along the way. For example, let's assume the employee's task was to clean off his or her desk. What if this employee, rather than taking the time to sort through the paperwork, just threw everything in a trash bag and threw it away, without considering whether or not there was important or confidential information? The employee would appear to have accomplished the task, but in reality used poor judgment while completing it because important information could have been lost or confidential information jeopardized. This illustrates the importance of evaluating performance based on the core competencies. The true quality of performance is not measured by the final product, but rather the quality of the behaviors or competencies utilized while completing this goal. These are the most important aspects to emphasize when measuring quality of work because these will often point to a particular area that led to the success or failure of the work done. The target ranges the system selects for your employee should represent the type of behaviors your employee would exhibit to earn a meets expectations rating. Stated differently, if your employee's behaviors for a given competency match or closely resemble the description of that target range, they will earn a meets expectation rating. Please reference the rater chart to distinguish the characteristics between each of the 5 ratings. The baseline or norm is considered to be the meets expectation rating. Employees with this rating are considered to be highly valued contributors. Employees who earn this rating achieve expectations or standards, and the performance is dependable and consistent. This rating means that meaningful contributions were made in the competency being reviewed. Employees who earn a rating of commendable for any goal or target range are those who achieve periodic results above expectations or standards. A commendable rating should be reserved for employees whose performance predominantly exceeds expectations and makes significant and lasting contributions. The highest rating employees can earn is a superior rating. This is reserved for employees who frequently achieve results beyond expectations or standards. An employee who earns a superior rating is one whose performance regularly exceeds expectations and is often incomparable because it is unique and exceptional in all aspects of the competency. Performance that does not fully achieve expectations or standards generally earns a growth necessary rating. An employee who earns this rating often fulfills some requirement, but still demonstrates that need improvement in some aspects. Performance here is described as inconsistent and as a result of an employee who just isn't quite yet performing at the level of a highly valued performer. The lowest rating that can be assigned is an unsatisfactory rating. Employees who earn an unsatisfactory rating are those who do not fulfill the position requirements. Simply stated, performance with this rating is unacceptable. This final rating is reserved for those who have demonstrated that they cannot be successful in a particular competency. If you take anything away from this training, remember one thing. Be as objective as you possibly can. This is crucial to evaluating performance and will lay the foundation on how to distinguish between performance levels and score competencies through the use of defensible documentation. One of the best ways to be objective is through regular documentation for each of your employees throughout the year. First, let's define what defensible documentation is. Defensible documentation is the support a supervisor uses to justify performance ratings. This is compiled throughout the year and can be collected in a multitude of different formats: feedback, emails, notes, personal observations, etc. The evaluation will require comments regardless of the rating, and if you do not add comments on the evaluation form, the form will not submit. These comments can be typed in or pulled from the documentation you provided with journal entries. The goal here is to ensure your comments support the rating that was given. To ensure the comments are defensible, make sure they are accurate, specific, and concrete, based on facts and your other defensible documentation compiled throughout the year, free of statements based on personal traits, hearsay, or innuendo, focused only on job-related behaviors that relate to the position description and other job assignments, focused on the entire evaluation period and reflective of any variations in performance over that period, consistent with other disciplinary or performance records. Let's practice evaluating performance. You had given an employee the following work task. As a senior office support specialist, you have extensive work with Google products. In support of the agency's mission to provide superior customer service, your goal is to create a customer satisfaction survey using Google Forms by March 1st. Completion of this survey will be measured by the final product, which should include at least 5 questions, and furthermore, how you implemented the survey using the core competencies as described by the target ranges selected. The first thing you want to do is review what your expectations were in regards to the core competencies. In this example, we will use communication. Based on the employee being in target range B, you expected the following communication performance: readily, clearly, and effectively conveys information, assuring it is understandable, as evidenced by the reactions of the recipients, thinks through what is to be communicated, and organizes thoughts and ideas. You often have an idea of how this performance needs to be rated based on your personal observations, but that perception needs to be justified prior to assigning a rating. You will need to review the documentation that you have collected over the past year, review the survey the employee created, and also review any journal entries, emails, your supervisor files, etc. In doing so, you discover that the employee spent over 20 hours on research and facilitated a meeting with 3 colleagues who were brought together to obtain feedback about the content. The meeting was a success. This led to having over 10 questions included on the survey. You've compartmentalized your thoughts and compiled all good and/or bad documentation as it relates to communication, and you determine that the scale tips in favor of exceeding expectations. Not only did the employee communicate effectively in regards to the goal, gaining participation, and facilitating a meeting, but also communicated effectively in performing everyday tasks. Because of this, you determine that this employee performs beyond expectations in a majority of position duties and responsibilities, while proactively meeting and predominantly exceeding position expectations, making substantial contribution to the overall achievement of the unit and departmental goals. Therefore, you decide to rate this employee as commendable in this competency. Your comments can reference the documentation you used and cite other specific examples the employee took to warrant the rating. This same process can be followed for each competency. Each core competency should be evaluated independently of one another. Doing this makes the process more objective and will provide a more accurate representation of the employee's overall performance. Once you've evaluated and rated each competency, the overall score will automatically be calculated based on the ratings. For additional help in ensuring your ratings are fair and objective, the second page of the rater chart includes common rater errors to avoid and performance evaluation do's and don'ts.